Here at the Extreme Channel, Mr. X likes to do things backwards, as well as talking about himself in third person. You know, he actually made a lot of money first and then went to college. He will often eat desserts before the main course. Him and Mrs. X, they like to, well, you know. And with these Iron Studios 1/10 scale Sentinel statues, he bought them in reverse order. First he got number 3, then number 2. Now today we're looking at number 1. And since he's doing everything in reverse order, why don't we do this review in reverse order? So does this statue have the X factor? That's not a cumulative score of all the different things we're going to go through, but it's the final score. Is it awesome? Is it amazing when you walk in? I think this does have the X factor. This is a 5 out of 5 statue. It's truly amazing despite some of the flaws that we're going to talk about. The action dynamic aspect of this, so many different characters. It just kind of commands your attention when you walk into the room. Now, is it worth the money regarding a value standpoint? So they made 1,400 of these in the deluxe version that come with all the additional characters. Just like all the other pieces, you can buy it separately. Now it retailed for $1,700 plus tax and shipping, so you want to tag another $300 on there. Now this was long sold out, and as I talked about in my previous videos, I had it on order, but Iron Studios' ordering system is so fucking stupid, they canceled it 3 different times. So I was trying to find this when it was long sold out, and I forgot to go to sleep about a week ago. Yes, just stayed up all night, and thankfully the Todd father messaged me because he knew I was looking for one, and he said he just got one in stock. Can I do it for $2,000? Done deal, shipped, paid. Thank you so much to Spec Fiction for getting me this. But is it worth that money? Is it worth $2,000 all in? You know, I think this is a pretty good deal because you get all these awesome characters. This is kind of the equivalent of like a half-scale statue, honestly. And there's a lot going on here. So despite the issues in paint and sculpt, I think the value is a 4 out of 5. And I can safely say that for this one because it is sold out and it's hard to find around that retail price. Now, paint and sculpt is where it really lacks. And just like the other ones, I encourage you to go check out those videos because I'm not going to cover all the details in paint and sculpt, especially on the base and the Sentinel itself, because I've talked about that thoroughly in the other videos. So, but let's dive in and you can see what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not going to focus as much on the actual Sentinel and the base. I will a little bit because I have a lot of detail in the other reviews that I did. But a lot of the same comments, you know, I mean, they overdid the rust and the cracks here. The base, the wood doesn't look like real wood. I think where it's broken apart, it does, at least on this part. But like this bubbly mushroom stuff, just I'm not a fan of it all. Same thing with the concrete down here. I think it's a pretty big miss in my opinion. Not only did they fail to get kind of the right texture when it was sculpted, but the paint doesn't complement it well. You know, like this wood door right here just looks horrible. A marshmallow mess is kind of the best that I can comment on. One really cool thing they do have a painting right here of the original X-Men. I think that is fantastic. Kind of a cool Easter egg. So out here on the street, you have the street light. Again, another cool addition we talked about. But I think really I want to focus on the stuff that's different. So the battle damage. So you have right here in the middle, like I said earlier, the everlasting gobstopper from the original Willy Wonka movie. The paint and the bunching up of those cables and wires just look horrible. Really big mess. I do like up here, though, the damage not only on the Sentinel's face from Rogue, but also where Beast has torn it up. I think that looks really good. Much better than this middle where Wolverine was. It is cool how you can see through it, though. So a lot of scoring on this. I'd say this one has the most scoring, which makes sense based on what's going on. And then you find a few Easter eggs on the base that we didn't see earlier, like broken statue head, a statue on a statue. But really my comments about the Sentinel are kind of one and the same, and same thing with the base. So let's kind of focus on the characters. Rogue, let's start with her. Her portrait is horrendous in my opinion. It's even worse than my last level Sentinel. But yeah, big miss on that portrait, unfortunately. The hair does look good. I like that. Her outfit is nice, very accurate. There's a little bleed over in the paint, but it could be because they wanted a battle damaged effect. I like her leather jacket. Her physique looks nice. Beast, I think they did a really nice job on. I like his portrait. I like the sculpted fur. And that's what's so crazy about these to me is how this one can look so good, and then this one a complete miss. Now with that, I don't like how much mud they put on his feet, but everything else, I'm a big fan of what they did. Wolverine, not a fan of the portrait as much. It's not as bad as Rogue, but and his arms look almost a little bit too big. However, he is a short, stocky guy, so maybe that's the effect they were going for. This switch out here where he's slicing through the air, it's a cool concept. I would have liked it a little more translucent, and I don't know if they didn't do that because maybe it would have been too much resin instead of kind of this plastic material and it would have broke. But he's very dirtied up on the bottom, but they didn't dirty up his uniform too much, which doesn't make sense if he just jumped through it. Jubilee down here, I really like her. I think they did a really nice job on her portrait. Has a little very, very good ties back to Jubilee. I think her clothing looks fantastic, really clean paint. Very pale, but I'm okay with that. A lot of shading in her jacket here. It looks like a true raincoat. And then, of course, another plastic effect of her throwing her power. And I like how she's kind of positioned on that. So I like Jubilee a lot. Cyclops, I'm not a fan of the pose at all. But, and it's kind of hard to tell the portrait. It doesn't look the best. But you're not really looking at that. I think the clear resin effect of his optic blast is really, really nice. And his uniform, okay. Again, not the cleanest in some of the areas with the paint. I think his anatomy is done really well. I think a Cyclops is a super fit guy, but not overly fit or overly bulky. So I think they nailed that. So really, that's the close-ups. Like I said, if you want some of the comments of what I think about the Sentinel or the base, check out the other reviews, you know, instead of repeating myself. But not surprisingly, there's a lot of what we found before and then a few differences. It's interesting this was the first one that was released. And they didn't really change it up much, but they, of course, did release these pretty quickly. I do like the paint better on this one. I don't think there's as many issues, but I still think it's lacking. So I'm going to give this one a little bit higher score, a weak 3 out of 5. Now I got to think about if I actually bought this in order, I would have been continually disappointed, where I think the paint's a little bit better on this one. Sculpt, like we talked about, is so hit and miss. Sometimes the character looks awesome, sometimes they're horrible. You know, I love a lot of the stuff they did with the Sentinel. However, those Gobstopper candies are just really killing me. And part of that's the paint, part of that's the sculpt. I'm going to go ahead and I think the sculpt is also a weak 3 out of 5. It's better than the other ones, which made me pleasantly surprised for sure. Now in design for this piece, it had a lot more pieces than the other ones. And not only because it seems like there's more characters, but there's just a lot going on. So let's look at the unboxing and assembly. Just like the other ones, it did come in 2 very large, heavy boxes. Each had its own art box, which had a picture of the statue, both a close-up and a full figure. The Iron Studios foam with the straps. Here is the first layer. Everything was wrapped in plastic and wax. You can see it's mostly the base. The base is 2 pieces, just like number 3. And then the second layer, as you see, had a lot more pieces than any of the other Sentinel pieces I've opened up. Can't stop saying pieces.
Previously on X-Men.
Now it did have an instruction manual. I didn't need it other than this table piece. I think this just, oh, this does go somewhere. Son of a bitch. Well, so much for that theory. I will have to find out where this table goes. So maybe I will need those instructions that came with. But for the most part, didn't have to use them because it was pretty easy to figure out. Everything fit really well, and I think it's impressive how everything fit really well, and there's so much dynamic stuff going on. I mean, essentially, you have 4 characters, and kind of 5 if you include the angle that Cyclops is at, kind of in mid-action, mid-air, barely secured, but they look great. The flying characters up here, I know they're not actually flying other than Rogue, but so a lot of props to him for the ingenuity of that. There is one switch-out option. So right here, you can have Wolverine's claw with kind of the slash through the air effect. And at first I didn't think I would display this because it does look a little hokey like we talked about in Paint and Sculpt, because you have this option as well without the air effect. But in the end, I think I will display it. All right, so dimensions, we're gonna call this kind of the front. So the widest point, and this doesn't include Cyclops or Jubilee popping out, is about 27 inches. For exact dimensions, check out Iron Studios or Sideshow's website. Then if we call this the depth, we're looking at 17 inches. And Beast is probably the tallest part, over 30, just under 36 inches maybe. So very, very big piece. So even now I'm finding some Easter eggs I missed, like underneath here, check this out right here, you actually see a picture of the door to Cerebro. And I remember talking about, I think it was number 2, I thought they should have had other stuff underneath the main floor. I didn't know this was here, so that's kind of a cool effect. So design, honestly, I'm really impressed. I think it's a 5 out of 5 on the design. They did some incredible things here, and you have to recognize that. I'm still trying to find where this fucking table goes. Now, concept. This is what's so attractive about these pieces. Not only the fact that they look amazing by themselves, but in a moment, actually, I'm gonna put all of them on this table and do another video of the separate proximity pieces. So make sure you've not only liked this video, but you've subscribed to the channel and hit that bell notification to see what all of these are like. If you don't want to wait for that video, I will post stuff on social media as well. The link for the social media is in the description below. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, make sure to follow those too. But let's look at the concept. So what you have going on here is the Sentinel just broke into Charles Xavier Mansion. We know it's the mansion for a lot of the reasons we talked about, whether it's the Cerebro door on the back end, which you won't even be able to see, the picture of the original mutants, you have some furniture, you have wood destroyed. Part of the Sentinel is still on the outside. That's evident by the street lamp and the concrete. So he's broken in, and as he's broken in, you start to move up him. He's moving forward, lumbering along, kind of like I do when I walk, and the X-Men are fighting him. You have Cyclops, the leader, blasting his leg. You have Jubilee shooting out some of her fireworks. And then what's really cool, you see all battle damaged and scarred that the Sentinel piece is, but you have 3 characters tackling his upper torso. Wolverine just ripped right through the middle, and I think that is one of the coolest effects in my opinion. I absolutely love that, but I am also equally impressed by how Rogue just punched in half the face while she's flying. I think that is awesome too. Those were 2 of the main reasons I wanted to get this piece, but it's even cooler when you see Beast tearing apart his shoulder using his acrobatic abilities. I think the concept on this is awesome. While I graded the concept 5 out of 5 on the other ones, I believe, I would give this a 6 out of 5 if that were possible, but I think the concept is absolutely phenomenal. Hey guys, welcome to the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X. Today we're reviewing the Iron Studios 1/10 scale diorama. This is Sentinel number 1. As I said in the intro, I own the other 2. And this one, I was able to finally track down, and this is the one I wanted the most, simply for the fact that I love what some of the characters are doing, which we talked about in concept and design. And I got number 3 in, because I forgot that I'd ordered him. Number 2 I found on Sideshow Seconds. You can check out individual reviews for both of those. So number 3 I reviewed right here, and again, it was the first one that I actually got, and I was really impressed. And at first I thought this one would be my favorite, but then I got in number 2, which I thought was kind of a dark horse. I bought this on Sideshow Seconds, so I got $200 off, but I was still really impressed with this one. And number 1, as a spoiler, this is kind of my favorite of the 3, which I didn't think it would be. Not just for the fact that it has some of the quintessential characters I love, but some of the stuff that's going on that we talked about in the review today. So I'm now all in on this line, which is gonna cost like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 when it's all said and done. but I think it's definitely worth it. And I could definitely see giving up my 1/4 scale collection, which I'm not going to, and have it replaced with these, because this has a lot of the stuff that I want. So in the review today, which we've already done because we're doing stuff in reverse order, we covered everything about this guy, and I'm so happy that I got him. I'm so happy that I got him for a good deal. And I appreciate you guys tuning in because I know everyone and their mom has actually reviewed this. But let me know what you think of this piece below because you could win a statue. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Thanks again, guys. Make sure to tune in. I can't wait for the video I'm going to do with all of them for you. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that. Check out some of this other content in the meantime, and please, please, please drop me a like on the way out. It really helps. Take care. Talk to you soon.